back to my channel. I'm Tired Mama, and we're going to talk about more weight loss and PCOS and binge eating and exercise, because this is my life right now. And if you're on a weight loss journey, or maybe you need motivation, or maybe you need help getting started because you have PCOS, I hope that I can inspire you. So, yesterday I posted the video that I went to the doctor, which was really great. And I wanted to really stress the importance today of why it's so important to have a doctor who, number one, you get along with, and number two, is willing to admit when they don't understand something. Let me explain. Polycystic ovarian syndrome is a very unknown disease. There are a lot of OBGYNs who don't understand it. There's a lot of endocrinologists that don't understand it. And so a lot of times women are not treated properly for PCOS. And PCOS causes weight gain and the inability to lose the weight. It's not really an inability, but it is for the same weight that someone that doesn't have PCOS my size would have to work. I have to work 2 or 3 times as hard in order to lose that same amount. So it's actually really important that you understand that. So I have been treated by different doctors. I've had PCOS for 20 years. And in the beginning, it was just always lose weight and your period will come, or lose weight and this will take care of itself. And that's not always the case. Yes, some people can drop hundreds of pounds and then most of the symptoms of PCOS disappear. But it's not always the case. Example, in my life, I have my mother and my grandmother. They both suffered from PCOS. Now, my grandmother was never officially diagnosed. They didn't have that diagnosis then. In the 60s, she was able to have 2 children. After her second child, she literally almost bled to death because of ruptured cyst. My mother had me, and then after me, she put on more weight. And they said it was due to her hormone changes. And she was diagnosed with PCOS. Now, 4 years later, she had my younger sister. We all know that the rate of miscarriage with PCOS women is very high. My mother didn't miscarry, but she gave birth to my sister at 27 weeks. Fortunately and thankfully for me, my sister did survive. She's one of my best friends and we're super close. But my sister doesn't have it. She successfully had 4 children with no problems. But she does struggle with some weight issues. Not a lot though. She's not my size. I've struggled with it forever. And don't get me wrong, my goal is to lose a substantial, amount of weight, but I don't know that my symptoms will ever disappear. They say that women with PCOS, it's easier for them to get pregnant over the age of 35. The problem comes in that there are medications that can help the symptoms, but the doctor doesn't always know it. Why? Because the medication doesn't say, this is for PCOS, this is for this is for that. It is actually medication with another purpose. The medicine that I take is called spirolactolone or aldactone. This medicine is what's called an androgen blocker. Androgens function in your heart. When you have too many androgens, things get out of whack in your body. Okay, I can't really explain it except to say that spirolactolone and aldactone are also a Lasix pill. They help with hormone stabilization for me. Completely a side effect for most people. Now, metformin treats me because I'm not diabetic, and it is a diabetic medication, but it treats me for the hormone stabilization. A lot of women get pregnant off metformin. A lot of women will lose weight. But I want to tell you what happened when I originally went into my doctor's office. I went in and I had the list of these 2 medications. I have an amazing doctor here in our local area. He's been working on me with weight loss for a while. And I sat down and I actually took the time and printed out the research on these medications and why the side effects treated PCOS. And he was hesitant. But he was very honest with me, and he said, I don't understand PCOS. And he does have all of my medical records from my gyno, my endocrinologist. It's super easier for me to see him because he's only 5 minutes, his office is 5 minutes from my house. Whereas the endocrinologist, I may have to wait 3 or 4 months to see. Same with the gyno. But he did agree. He said, let me do some research on these and I'll get back to you. And within 24 hours, he called me from his office and he said, I'm more than willing to try these. We're going to start them in low doses. And then if you do well in a month, which is when you should start to see results, then we will revisit the issue. I have so much respect for him because he was able to admit to me up front, I don't understand your disease, but I'm willing to learn about it. So when I went in this week, not only was he super happy to see that I made progress on weight loss, he was super supportive. He did change one of my medications because on the spirolactolone, he said I should be at 50 milligrams a day, and he had previously had me at 25. So he changed that, and he said, you're doing really well. Let's up it and see what happens. But he also told me if I have any issues, I experience any of the common negative side effects of spirolactolone, to feel free to either call him or change my own dosage to 25 until I can see him. That gave me a little bit of freedom, and I can really appreciate that. Okay? PCOS isn't a disease that's as easily treatable as staph infection. Not saying staph infection is good, but you start with antibiotics, right? We know this process. PCOS, it's not that easy. PCOS, for me, plays a big role in my weight loss. This disease changes your metabolic rate, and it basically wires your body to think that it needs all of this extra food. It makes your body crave and think that it's still hungry. It makes you feel unsatisfied even though you just had a meal. When those feelings last long enough, then you will slowly gain weight, and you will slowly become somebody like me. Now for me, this started very early in my life. I've always been overweight, but about the age of 15 is when mine got really bad. My grandfather had passed away, my mom had been sick, and I'm going to do a story about that tomorrow to kind of give you a little bit more of an idea about where I come from. But my grandfather was like my dad, and so when he passed away, I spiraled. And then I moved across the country to live with my dad and his family. And so the things that changed in me were my cravings for food, and that's where I became, I think, an emotional eater. Because I put a lot of emotion into that time in my life. I am happy to say that I feel, after a month on the medication, I'm now down 12.4 pounds. Actually, today I weighed in, I'll put the number at the end. I don't remember the exact number because I'm weighing myself specifically very early in the morning, and I was not fully awake yet. And that's okay. So I'll put my chart at the end so that you can see my progression. I'm really happy, and I can say that I do feel better. Physically, I have more stamina. I am still struggling with the urge to binge eat, though. Great example would be today. I got up this morning. I did really good. Went to the grocery store, did a little couponing, came home, put up groceries, had a reasonable lunch. And about 1:30, I was just like, Now, I have to keep other food in the house because I do have a daughter and a husband, and not only do they eat, of course, they take lunches every day. And I have to have the tools there to give them lunch. And so there's bread and there's, you know, baked potato chips, which I do not need. So I'm really proud that I have fought that urge. I did eat something, but I just ate like a side salad, a side Caesar salad with some carrots and some cheese, and I'm okay. I'm fixing to go start preparing dinner. I did find a really great breakfast for me. I'm going to put some video or some pictures here at the end. It is the Fig Bar. The Basics, I think, is the name of it. Basics Fig Bar. It's 100 calories for a 2-pack, and you either get like raspberry or blueberry. They're very, very good. They're 100 calories. For lunch, I did like a combo plate. I had pickles. I love baby kosher dill pickles. So I had pickles, cheese, strawberries, and a fig bar. That it was almost like my little sweet something. That was my plate. I had the Caesar salad for dinner. I'm going to be barbecuing pork chops, and the meat that I'm cooking is from a local place, so it's all like local grass-fed, very, very good product. I'm going to be using a sugar-free barbecue sauce, and then we're going to have grilled corn and smoked cauliflower. Now, I realize that I can't eat a lot of corn, but I do, you know, and I've talked about this. I don't believe I'll be successful if I restrict myself completely, so I will have some, just not a lot. But I still have like 1,000 calories left for today because of my walking this morning. I did yoga this morning. I'm going to do yoga again before I go to bed. And it's really, I mean, I'm seeing noticeable differences in my ability to move while doing it, such as being able to bend over and roll back and pop my back. I can do that every day now. I didn't used to be able to do that. So I am super sore today. If you watched yesterday's video, you'll know that last night I worked 4.5, almost 5 hours in a concession stand at a high school football game. I'm not used to being on my feet that long, so it was a challenge for me. And but it was so much fun, and I mean, I do feel better this morning. I'm just sore, and sometimes soreness is good. I think I'm going to leave you guys here for today. We kind of talked about what I wanted to cover. There's a great live stream going on, and I think she's going to keep it up, by Charlie Gold, where they're talking about the mental health side of being obese, and they really are focusing on Amber Lynn. If you guys know, I've talked about Amber Lynn before. I do watch her videos with the hope that the people who watch her videos hoping for help can maybe find me and maybe get the inspiration they really need from someone who's actually going. I'm not stopping, guys. From someone who's actually going to be successful. Like, I'm not stopping this diet. And I'm so proud of myself. I realize that today's just the 7th. But 7th is the 7th. And most people would have given up by this point. But I'm not. I'm here. And I'm here for the long run. Realize a couple of things. Number one, know that you are worthy. You are worth the time and energy and effort that it takes to be put in to lose weight. You are worth every moment of it. Your life is worth it. If no one has told you today that they love you, know that I do love you, and I appreciate you watching my video. And maybe no one's told you they appreciate the effort that you put in every day as a mom to take care of your house or your kids. And know that it is appreciated. If you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear from you. I love to chat with people in my comments. And until next time, guys, bye.